Yeah, a lot of it, like I look back at that version of Skylar and I have a hard time relating to a big part of him. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed with that version of him is he felt like he was very contracted and tight with his energy and with his ability to express himself. I think I had like pockets where I was able to express myself, but specifically when I was in rooms with men or even women who I mentally visualized to be above me, it was a lot more difficult to express myself. I would feel a lot of these heavy emotions coming up, feeling very insecure, very repressed. And I've just noticed these past few weeks, I've honestly made a lot of friends that I just don't think I would have 6, 10, 12 weeks ago. But just the ability to like be in a room with people who in the past I would feel very unworthy of and insecure of, I do notice myself being much more relaxed and much more present and less concerned about, well, what should I say to impress them or how is this coming off? And more just like tapping into what I believe, into what I want to say, and being much more confident in saying it. It's felt really good, man. I feel like my ability to express myself more has, number one, it's been doing a lot of the scary stuff that we've been pushed to do in the program and coming out the other side and noticing that everything's okay. And honestly, like things get better after. I think a big part of it too is the emotional releases I had during the program of getting some emotions out, some tears out that needed to come out. Like I do feel like after those experiences specifically, I came out the other end with a much lighter energy. Whatever it was that was holding on to me isn't really here anymore, or at least as much of it isn't. But yeah, the biggest contributor to that has been the working through fear, doing things that are scary, doing things that intimidate me, and coming out the other side and saying, like, that wasn't bad. I'm alive. So there were specific tasks where beforehand I was so in my head and I was creating all these situations of like the worst thing happening. Well, I'm going to do this and then this is going to happen and my life's going to be over and people are going to think I'm weird and just all these negative loops of self talk. And then with the support of the group, finally pushing myself to do it because knowing like, hey, we have check ins, like I've got to do this. I can't not do it and doing it and having it be difficult and having a lot of fear come up and a lot of stories come up, but then coming out of the other side and honestly looking around and just saying like, okay, no one's talking poorly about me. I haven't been arrested, like for some reason, like I haven't gotten in trouble for doing these things that obviously aren't even illegal. But it's just like going through it and noticing that that voice in your head that is giving you all the negatives and all the worst of the worst is nowhere near accurate. And just starting to build that list of evidence, like I can do this and I'll come out the other end okay. It feels amazing to see the world more clearly, to know who I am, and to be able to get out and just be me in a lot of situations where I wouldn't have in the past. It's like a freedom that can't really be explained until you feel it. It's a frequency. It's like that king energy of knowing like, hey, I'm not super cocky. I don't think I'm the best of the best, but I just have this calm energy of knowing like, hey, I put in the work to become the man that I am today. And so let me sit in it and I can relax a little bit and I don't have to be as on edge or as stressed out going out into the world. My relationship with myself before this program was honestly really solid, except when I was exposed to other people and their opinions. Like something I realized throughout this program is I put so much weight on other people that I became so numb to what I wanted and what I felt and what I believed. And I started just taking on other people's opinions or even just like my thought of what their opinions were and ignoring deep down what I knew or what I believed. And so to be able to like check in with myself in situations where I would normally be so concerned about other people, that's honestly been the biggest improvement with my relationship with myself because I'm now checking in. Like I'm not ignoring how I'm feeling. I'm not ignoring what I want in certain moments. I'm leaning into it. If I'm entering a social situation and I'm just like feeling a little not into it, I don't put in the extra energy to be all chipper and to be all like rah rah and up there. Like I'm okay with just entering it and just having my medium level of energy or whatever I'm feeling that day. And it's allowed me to be a lot more relaxed and a lot more calm because I don't have to stress out about fitting this mold of who I think I should be or who other people want me to be. Yeah, it's spilled into every area. Honestly, my business, just being able to show up as I am on my client calls and not feel like I have to be in this high energy state or that I have to impress someone or say the perfect thing. Like, it's a lot more trust in just the conversation with my coaching clients are going to go how it goes, and it's meant to go that way If I hop on a sales call, I don't have to impress someone. I don't have to be over complimenting. Like I can just show up as I am. With my relationships, I've made a lot of new friends, specifically females, these past few weeks. And I just know a lot of it is because I'm able to enter without that energy of like, oh, I hope they like me, or I hope I make a good impression. I'm entering as who I am, and the people that do like me are going to stick around. The people that don't aren't, and that's totally cool. So it's just been like a lot less of that internal stress. Like something I noticed when I started this program was I was ending a lot of my days where I had coaching calls and social events and all these things just like wiped, stressed out, overstimulated, ready to end the day, ready to go to bed. And a majority of the days these past few weeks, I'm ending the day refreshed, feeling fulfilled, not feeling like my battery's completely on empty from the day. And I do think that's because of just how I'm showing up. Being in this group of guys has been one of the best of my life. I was thinking about this the other day. I've been in a lot of coaching programs, some one-on-one, a lot of them groups, but I've never been in a program where from top to bottom, every man exudes excellence. Every single one of us, we have our shortcomings, but I've never been in a group where it has been such top-tier men who are so driven, so focused on getting better, just like completely studs from top to bottom. And at first, being in a group like this, like it did bring up a lot of insecurities for me and worthiness issues of do I belong here? Like I'm looking at these guys who are crushing it in business, crushing it in relationships and with women, and do I fit in here? And the past few weeks, I mean, the answer has definitely been yes to that. But it's because these men have drawn the best out of me. And it's like their excellence makes you want to show up as even more excellent. And if I was thinking about skipping a challenge or not doing a check-in or something like that, just even the thought of not following through to that standard while all these other guys are, it's like a no-brainer. Like you have to follow through, you have to push through your fears because you have this group of top-tier men all holding you accountable. And not necessarily even like, yes, we're pushing each other to be better, yes, we're reaching out, but I think more importantly, the level of men makes you want to be better. Even if they weren't checking in on you, even if they weren't reaching out and holding you accountable, it pulls more of that internal drive out of you. So it's been amazing and essential to be in a group of men like this. I honestly think it's the filter of Alan himself. I know Alan doesn't accept everybody into this group. And so that to me was the most important part because you could find any Joe Schmo who wants the outcome of what this program promises. And if Alan started letting those people in, it would drop the tier of men. But Alan did an awesome job at selecting all these guys who had elite parts of their life, like just had reached new heights in every area, right? We had people crush it in business. We had people crushing family and women. We had people crush it with self, with confidence. So I do honestly think it was the filter of Alan who selected these men who were such top tier men. Beautiful. So cool. There's a few men in specific that stand out, but the two elements of this that I've seen men really thrive in is number one, family. Someone in specific of just being able to completely transform his relationship with his wife and kids within the span of 9-10 weeks. And that has been so inspiring to watch, especially as a man who's single right now. Like one day I will be settling down, and I'm so blessed to have witnessed firsthand how this guy transforms his relationship with his wife and kids. And then the second would be just internal confidence of kind of a very similar situation that I was coming from of on the external, it looks like he had everything going for him, like stud in with his fitness, with his relationship, with all these things. And then for some reason, there's that lack of internal worthiness and confidence. And that's been really cool to see, to witness not only in myself, but also with some other guys in this group, because it is unlocking that part of people where they're finally able to see themselves for who they are instead of who they think they are. And in a way, it's like a delusion, but it's a positive delusion as opposed to where we typically lean, which is like a negative delusion of only focusing on the bad parts of us or not seeing the things that are really powerful about us. Yeah, I won't give specific names, but I've worked with a masculinity coach before. I've worked with multiple business coaches. So I've been in that space of growth. And what I'll say is that this program has been, number one, the shortest, which I think is funny, but number two, the most transformative, even within that period of time. I've had programs where I come out the other side and I'm like, yeah, like I feel different. I feel better. Like I've definitely grown these past few months. But this program, it's a completely different level of growth that I've experienced. And I know there's way more. I know there's always going to be growth. There's always going to be areas where I find myself falling short. But what this program has done is change that internal dialogue that's going to allow me to reach those new heights much faster instead of holding myself back and self-sabotaging and all of that. I invested in my first coach in 2017 or 2018, and it was a huge investment for me at that time. Like, did not know what to expect, but I came in with the wrong mentality of like, I'm going to pay for this and my life is going to be different. This guy's going to transform me. Whereas I realize now, like, that person that you invest in can give you the tools to transform yourself. They can't do the work for you. They can't drag you across the finish line, hold your hand the entire way. And so to me, coaching is like, you look in the mirror, you say, I'm ready for a change and I'm ready to do what it takes to get there. Now let me find someone who can give me the blueprint, who can find my blind spots, who can help me get to where I want to go faster. And so as far as what type of coach Alan is, I don't think he fits into any specific box. It's so different. Like, it's masculinity coaching, but at the same time, when you say that, that's nowhere even close to covering what's actually done in this program. Yes, you're developing into a better man through this program, but it's so much more than just the masculinity aspect. It would be difficult for me to put Alan into a box and this program into a box just because of how wide of a range that we've covered in the past 10 weeks. A lot of what this program did was just really allow me to take a look at, well, how am I speaking to myself? And I think more importantly, in those moments, like I mentioned before, of being out and being around other people, rather than focusing on who do I need to be for them, changing that conversation to what do I want right now? And not struggling as much with the fears of not being enough or the fears of doing something wrong or whatever that internal conversation is. That has been the biggest because, I mean, I believe the root of everything is what's going on up here. Like, we think good thoughts, our life's going to be a completely different place than if we think not so good thoughts. So that's really the biggest thing, because now that allows me to take a look at every area and see how I can level up. Like, even when I came in this program, I thought I was at a really high level with my fitness. And these past 3 weeks, I showed myself I have so much more in me. It's crazy because I would consider myself an expert in the fitness field and an expert at pushing myself and achieving big things. But these past 3 weeks specifically, I've done so much more than I ever thought my body was capable of. And I feel amazing. Honestly, Alan had such a great way of seeing through the BS and calling it for what it was in the moment. I respect his ability to really see people, and same goes to you, and I know we'll get there, but there's this level of, because there's such overwhelm of like the red pill coaches and these masculinity coaches out there, and I've never seen someone who consistently hits the nail on the head with what a man is and who a man should be and how to be a man. It's not surface level. It's not shallow. It's not any of the stuff that you see online. It's taking your experience as a man to depths that I didn't understand were possible and having fun along the way. Like, that's been a big part of it too. Like, it hasn't just been like discipline, go, 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 get these challenges done. Like, a lot of it has been, okay, we're going to come together as men. We're going to have a blast while we do it. We're going to push each other. We're going to shit on each other a little bit and just like allow that competitive side to come out. But he's just had an awesome style to be able to call people out, to say it like it is, and to take people to depths that I honestly didn't even know were possible beforehand. Nico is a savage. I'm so glad I met Nico. He just simplifies things. You take something that's complex or you're stuck in your head and you're overthinking, and within like a 2-minute video from Nico, it just all makes sense. In my eyes, he exhibits someone who has lived his stuff, who is able to conquer fear in whatever area he wants, who's really found out what true fulfillment is in life. And I look up to his ability to not only simplify things, but also live in alignment. And he's just that type of dude where you look at him, he's freaking jacked. I want to emulate this person. He doesn't have to make you do anything. Like, he just naturally pulls that out of you of like, I make myself want to do it because of him. Dude, John is one of the most grounded people I have met. It has been so cool to see how he can directly see through people. We had a moment where he just went and called everybody out, like one by one, was just like pointing out our blind spots, pointing out our weaknesses, and he hit the nail on the head with every single person. And also grounded is a word I would use, of being able to just be present with people, to see a situation for what it is and how it is. Any situation that you had a chance to coach people on, specifically in our group chat, it was just always concise and effective and relevant. And I think that's a big part of it, is like sometimes you'll get coaching where it's like, yeah, I feel like you didn't really understand where I was coming from and what I was saying. But John had the ability to just like understand what you were going through and give a response in a very effective way to reframe it and allow you to work through it a little bit faster. If someone was on the fence for this program, I would just say jump. Like, take a look at where you're at. If you're not happy with where you're at, do something about it. As simple as it is. Like, all this overthinking of the investment and the time and everything that always comes up, you can either live with that story and stay where you are and maybe make a little bit of progress in the next 10 weeks, or you can take the leap, join the program, and find out who you really are in the next 10 weeks and see how much growth is actually possible. If I could say that personally to anyone who had doubts, I would. This is a program that is 1,000% worth the investment. And you can cut this out if you want. It's been the heaviest investment I've ever made in coaching, but by far the most beneficial. The one other thing worth mentioning, which we did talk about, but just to reemphasize, is the value of being in a group of other men who are this top tier. It's hard to find that. I have amazing friends out here in Arizona. I have a great group of guys that are business oriented, growth oriented, great values, connected with God. And it's just something about being in a container where you are allowed to push yourself to that next level with other guys. That has been so helpful for me. So I would just say, like, you are finding that next level of you, and you are joining the program to level up yourself. But in the process, you're going to find even higher of a level because of the other men that are going through the program with you. So I just wouldn't want to blow past that of like, I'm joining just for me. No, you're also joining to get connected with other dudes who are just incredible people. At the beginning of the program, like, I would consider myself, or I would have considered myself, a leader, because I have a coaching business and I have clients and I'm leading them to their fitness. But being exposed to a group of guys like this drew out a lot of insecurities of my own and worthiness issues, which I kind of mentioned before. But working through that and going through the fire and all these trials with these men has shown me in what ways I do lead. And even hearing people speak about different aspects of my body and my business and my YouTube channel and all that stuff has created more evidence for me about the leader that I actually am. And so it's like, it's been there, but through this group of guys, through this experience, it's been taken to that next level, and it's given me that boost of confidence in that area. Hearing from the guys what they saw in me was a really beautiful experience. And it was interesting because kind of knew a lot of what was being said, but it just hit it directly home. It was like, okay, I see it, but we'll see what happens. And then when people started really saying like what they saw in me, it just drove it home of, okay, I need to step it up in this department of how I see myself even more, just because of what is being said about me. So I left that call feeling inspired, fired up, like just really excited about what's next for me because of how much more I see in myself now. So before, with even just being in conversations with women, whether it's approaching them or someone I had known or someone I had just met, like whatever it may be, there was a lot of pressure on myself to be a certain person and to live up to a certain standard. And these past few weeks, I've just noticed I've been so much more at ease and playful with the women in my life. Like, I've literally made probably 5 or more new female friends these past few weeks. And it's such a different feeling than in the past of like, I feel like I have to be this guy and like I have to step into this role. And now it's just like, you're my little sister. I'm just going to tease you. I'm just going to have fun. Like, we're going to enjoy our time together. If something comes from it and we connect, great. If we stay friends, great. But I'm just going to enjoy this time. So there's definitely still nerves in certain aspects with women I'm just meeting, women I'm meeting out in public. But once the introduction has been made and once kind of like settle into it and you feel that person's energy, it's just like a lot more playfulness and enjoyment. And there's not as much stress for dates, and there's not as much stress about, well, I have to keep this person occupied for an hour when we hang out. It's just like, no, I'm going to show up. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to feel the need to fill silence. I'm just going to enjoy it. And it's been a big relief being able to do that. I've always been a super playful person. But I feel like growing up, all these small little instances with friends or random people of where you just get these side comments or you get insulted or all these things that you should just brush off, I would definitely take to heart. And I started to develop the story that being playful was childish and being playful wasn't masculine and being playful was like women aren't going to respect you if you are. And I mean, these past 2 weeks, I've just demolished those things. Like, yeah, there's certain times where playfulness probably isn't necessary. Like, you can still bring that energy, but you don't have to be like this child. But for most of the time, like, be yourself and have fun and crack jokes and tease people. And it makes life a lot more enjoyable. I'll say that much.